That's Reese's French.
Yes.
Kind of.
How a tiny country almost bought Alaska. The story surrounding the sale of Alaska is one which affirms the fact that some dreams are better left as dreams, because if pursued, the dreamer might be swallowed up by his own dream. This is a story that involves the unexpected diplomatic maneuverings and strategic interests of global power actors such as Russia, the United States, and a tiny country. While it is no news that the United States purchased Alaska from Russia in 1867, only a few are aware that a tiny country was in the bid. Which is this tiny country? How did it get on a bid with global powers like the United States? Welcome to the path of history. Russia's interest in selling Alaska. In the 18th century, Russia extended its influence eastward, acquiring Alaska due to the lucrative fur trade that existed there at the time. However, midway into the 19th century, for several reasons, Alaska became less desirable to the Russian Empire. For one thing, the Crimean War, which occurred between 1853 and 1856, dealt a devastating blow on Russia, both financially and militarily, hence the reassessment of whether or not to keep Alaska as a possession. On the other hand, Alaska was remote, hard to defend, and increasingly difficult to govern. As if that was not enough, the fur trade was beginning to decline, and it became so clear that Alaska could be more valuable to Russia's geopolitical rivals, especially the US or Britain. Not daring to conflict with Britain, especially since Canada, being a British colony, is close to Alaska, Russia decided to sell the territory and be at peace. However, the Russian government believed it would be more favorable to sell to the United States since both countries are in a friendly relation. But before the two friends could sign the dotted lines, a smaller country joined the bid: Denmark. Denmark's unsustainable interest in Alaska. Though, as of the mid-1800s, Denmark was a relatively small European power. It has global ambitions despite having limited resources. At the moment, Greenland and Iceland were under its control, and it remained active in Arctic exploration. Denmark became interested in Alaska due to its presence in the North Atlantic and Arctic regions, which met with Denmark's desire to expand its influence. If Denmark gets Alaska, it will possess a much larger Arctic domain, becoming a key player in the polar regions. Would you blame Denmark? It had just lost some territories, including Norway and some German-speaking provinces, which has reduced its global influence. Acquiring Alaska would be a compensation to regain some international standing. More feasibly, the possibility of linking Greenland, Iceland, and Alaska into a coherent Arctic strategy was appealing. Denmark was known for prudence in governance and strategic vision, and if Alaska is a catch, it would have been a viable offer. But then, the Danish government faced significant roadblocks. First, Denmark's finances were limited, and raising sufficient funds to acquire Alaska would be a challenge. Second, the realization of a Danish Alaska could raise a dust. Russia is willing to sell Alaska to a power that would not pose a threat to its interests. But Denmark, though small, was an ally to giant rivals like Britain and France. Additionally, even if Denmark had acquired Alaska, governing such a remote and vast territory would be too much a burden, as it has limited military and administrative capacity. The United States come on stage. While Denmark has serious interest in Alaska, it could not outbid the US. Russia's primary goal was to sell Alaska to a nation that was not a direct rival, and the United States perfectly fits. More so, the United States was expanding westward and had the financial resources and political will to strike the deal. Negotiations between Russia and the United States was rapid. By 1867, the two countries had agreed to the price of $7.2 million, and Alaska was transferred to U.S. control. The acquisition was initially ridiculed as Seward's folly, given that William H. Seward was the Secretary of State at the time, but it eventually proved to be a strategic and economic lift for the U.S. What an interesting story of weighing choices before making decisions. This historical fact illustrates how global ambitions, geopolitical calculations, and financial limitations intersected. Yes, Denmark is no match for the United States. However, its interest in Alaska and how it was driven highlights how even small nations can play a role in major international events. If Denmark had acquired Alaska, the map of North America would not look the same as we have it today. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.